What's up, Bertini fam? So in today's video, we're going to be installing this trunk box on our Can-Am Outlander 1000R. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, that's super simple. All you have to do is take the box and put it on the back here and turn the quick connects and you're done, right? Theoretically speaking, yes. But the issue is with these things is there's a lot of bouncing on the back. Now, they do include some hooks for you to install. They really don't work very well. And so I'm going to show you a quick and easy modification that you can do to avoid these things from bouncing around. And it'll make it a little bit more secure and safe if you plan on putting anybody on the back seat of this thing, or I should say behind you. All right, now before we jump into today's video, do me a quick favor and click that subscribe button right now. This way you can stay up to date with all of my build series content. Now, with that out the way, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Now, installing this thing is pretty easy. It has these quick connects down here, or quick disconnects, if you want to call them those, or link quick connects, I think they're called. All they do is simply go into these slots, right? So this slot here, and there's going to be another slot on the other side. And then they rotate, and that's what locks them and keeps them in place. So I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. So one goes in that one, and one goes right here, and it goes on like this. Unlatch it, and then inside here, there is, let me see if I could get you guys a good shot on this. Inside here, you have these things that you turn, right? And when you turn it, you hear that sound, and that locks it in place. It keeps that end from moving. But as you can see, as you're riding, this back end is still loose. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do a trick, or a mod if you will, that's going to keep this back end stable and planted down at the bottom here without flapping around as we're driving the bike. Or I should say as we're riding the bike. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and get this thing delatched, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Now, the first thing we're going to have to do is remove this rear rack right here. And so in order to remove this rear rack, there are 4 bolts. There's a bolt here, and there's a bolt right over there. And the same exact thing is on the other side of the bike. So we're going to go ahead and remove those bolts off of the bike. Now, before we go ahead and remove the rack, the third mounting point that we're going to be using is the one for this here in the rear. And so this is the point that we're going to be using in order to make this thing more stable and secure. Or not this thing, but make the trunk more stable and secure. So now all we have to do is pop this thing off like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mount this lid right back on it like that. And we're going to latch it in. So something I just realized is I don't know if I want to use this one. Actually, I don't want to use this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this point right here and this point as well over here. This way I have even more security. I have 2 more mounting points instead of just using 1. The other thing is these link kits, they come with 2 of these link disconnection, or quick connects I should say. They come with 2 of these things. So it's like instead of just using the one for here, I could go ahead and use both of them and get even more security with using 2 of these points. So we're going to go ahead and use this point and this point over here. Now what we'll go ahead and do is we're going to take a pencil and we're just going to go ahead and outline this area right here that we are going to need to trim out on the box. And we'll do the other side as well. Now that we've made our markings, let's go ahead and take the trunk box off so we can go ahead and start making our cuts. And then for this next part, you're going to want to be using some sort of Dremal tool. This is the Dremal 4000. You can pick these up on Amazon, local Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's. Any of those places are going to have them. And then we're going to be cutting this out. And then in terms of your tips, I'm going to be using a few different tips, but it's really your preference on what you use. I like to get a little bit more precise and close, and that's why I'm using the smaller tip for right now. Now, as you're cutting, you're just gonna wanna make test fits just to make sure that you're not taking off too much material. See, as you can see, we still have a little bit of a ways to go before we make this into that hole. Okay, so now we got one side done. So now we're gonna go ahead and move over to that side. So now that we have both holes completely done, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some 220 grit sandpaper and just run them into the holes. This way we can clean up any edges, any sharp edges. So this is just to kind of finish this part off. Now we'll go ahead and reinstall the rack. Now we'll go ahead and put the rack on, get it secured. All right, now just to install the latches. And then to install these little screws, if you will, that are going to keep these from running back out. And just like that, that's what the finished product looks like. So this is what it should end up looking like when you are all done. Now, I'm not really even using this for a trunk. This is more of a backrest, if you will, for us. But yeah, it still has its trunk functionality too, even with those, even with the latches there. Now, since I'm not using this as a trunk, I'm gonna run two zip ties through here until I can get some carabiners to put through these. So I'm just gonna take two zip ties and run them through this just so the latches don't go bouncing off. Well, that's all I have for y'all today. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please give me a like and also comment down below. Let me know if this mod was helpful for you to learn. And then, like I said, if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. This way you can stay up to date with the entire build series on this Can-Am Outlander 1000R. Most importantly, remember, make sure you're putting good energy out there into the world and you're paying it forward. I'll check y'all out later. Bye now.